Welcome to Dr. Jake Talks. I am metaphysician Dr. Jake Caputo, and I am your host and tour guide today. And I want to open with a couple thoughts that I think are very important. There's so much crime going on nowadays. It's starting to feel like the Wild West. It's crazy, totally insane. And as a former cop, it hurts me when the cops can't do their job because someone tells them not to do this, not to do that. Well, I recall taking an oath that I would defend the Constitution. And that doesn't end because my employment was over. In my heart, I took an oath, and I still have an obligation. And that obligation is to follow the Constitution. And if I see something wrong, I don't think I'll make a citizen's arrest, but I could. The bottom line is, in order to start helping things get cleaned up, we need to be the example. Like Mahatma Gandhi, remember that guy? He said, be the change you wish to see in the world. I might be paraphrasing a little bit, but that's the message. Be the change. Do the right thing. Follow the rules. Not a big deal. And by setting an example, a ripple effect will go out, and hopefully somebody will pick up on it. We never know what kind of impact we can have in somebody else's life just by doing the right thing, whatever that might be. And another thing too, it doesn't cost anything to be kind. It's easy to be a jerk, but it doesn't cost anything to be kind. Hold doors open for people. Doesn't matter, man, woman, whoever they are, even kids, whatever. Hold the door open for people, and if they don't say thanks, no big deal. You're not doing it to get praise. You're doing it because it's the right thing. And it'll make you feel good in your heart. And that's what's important. And in metaphysics, what we believe, and actually there's documentation to back this up, the heart is the physical manifestation of the essence of who you are that is generally referred to as your soul. So your soul, so to speak, speaks through your heart. And what's interesting is different power actually emits from the heart area, and that has been measured and proven. And when you think about music, and they say, boy, that guy's got a lot of heart. He was coming from his heart. That's the way a singer is supposed to do it. And another thing along those lines, I am not asking you to be somebody different than you are. You're perfect like you are. Doesn't make any difference, how big you are, what you look like, whatever. None of that matters. You're perfect the way you are. So therefore, you have to work with what you got. So don't let people tell you you can't do this or can't do that. Do the right thing, and you'll feel better. If they don't feel better, that's not your problem. You did the right thing in hopes of taking care of somebody else, not in hopes of getting thanks. So enough of my rambling, and we know I can ramble. So it is time for us to talk about what was going on last week when we talked. We talked about being present. That means being in the now. You can't go backwards into the past. You can plan all you want for the future, but you know what? You can't go there. We don't have technology to go there. And I don't think there should be any such technology attempted, because now is what matters. Learn to enjoy the now and be aware. And that brings me to another topic that I wanted to touch base on today regarding being aware. Since we have a lot of lawlessness going on at the moment, and it'll run its course somehow, but in the meantime, if you, and it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, if you are pulling into a parking lot somewhere, or in a parking garage, or as the British say, into a car park. So if you're going into a parking garage, or even a flat outdoor lot that you're parking in, do not park next to any vans. A lot of criminals jump out of vans and hurt people or take their car or carjack them, whatever. Don't park next to vans. And if you're parking and you can see either in front of you or in your rear view mirror, a group of people, and something looks a little shifty, get out of there and go to a different store. Don't put yourself potentially in harm's way. And another thing, when you're going back to your car, two things I'd like you to be aware of. Number one, make sure no one is around you as you're getting into your vehicle. If somebody else is getting into their vehicle, stand aside, let them do whatever they're doing and pull away. And then before you get in your car, look in the back seat if you've got windows that way, because you never know what's going on. People do crazy stuff. And you're my people. So therefore, I feel compelled to tell you things that I know will help keep you safe. And if you stay safe, then you can keep tuning in and checking out what Dr. Jake's got to say. You dig where I'm coming from? All right. Oh, by the way, I woke up with a song in my head this morning, and it was driving me sugar. The song was Listen People, I believe it is, or Listen Here, by Peter Noone of Herman's Hermits. And the line of, everybody's got to love somebody sometime, everybody's got to win a heart, that kind of thing. I didn't mean to start singing, but that was in my head. And I'm like, yeah, everybody needs to find a heart. And in the song, he also says, everybody's going to fail, but he says, I hope you never fail. And I just thought it was, even though if you don't remember who he is, he did those commercials in the 90s for oldies CDs. And seems to be a decent guy, but nonetheless, the song has got a nice message. And I like music that comes from the heart. Because if you ain't got no heart and soul, then you're just singing for no reason. So, that's one thing. And Brother Richard suggested I watch a movie. And I did, and I thought it was outrageously funny. And I want to pass this on to you because you can watch it for free on YouTube. It's called Stand Up Guys. It was made about 10 years ago. 3 Academy Award winners: Al Pacino, Christopher Walken, and Alan Arkin. And all I can tell you is it's about 3 old gangsters trying to get their groove back. And the stuff they do in 24 hours is absolutely crazy. But talk about entertaining, big time. So, there's a song you might want to listen to and a movie you may want to watch for free. So, that being said, it's time to get on with business. So, as you know, I use this book because it's written by a guy I think is cool, and that guy is me. I wrote this in 2010 while recovering from major abdominal surgery. And I know somebody out there is going, why did he have to have abdominal surgery? Well, it was hernia gone bad, gone bad, gone bad, gastric bypass, hernia, blah, blah, blah. Twice. Count them. Twice. I almost died before getting to the hospital. And the last time when I got to the hospital, thank God my former administrative assistant, who has passed away 2 years ago, she was awesome. Her name was Lynn. She met me at the hospital, and she said when I got out of the cab, because I didn't want to get in an ambulance, she didn't recognize me. I said, what do you mean you didn't recognize me? She goes, you looked green and dark, like death. She said, and I didn't know it was you until you said, hey, Lynn. So ultimately, as I was being taken into surgery, my surgeon, he had operated on me numerous times. He said to me, if you had waited 12, maybe 24 hours at the most before coming in here, you wouldn't be getting wheeled into an operating room. You'd be going to the morgue. So that's how serious it was. But thank my lucky stars, I haven't had that issue in 12 years, but I now have to wear a waistband. Actually, it's a weightlifting belt under my clothes for the rest of my life, because what was inside me holding me together, they had to cut it out because it was so infected. So now you know more about me than you ever wanted to know. You want to know what's on the inside? I just told you. So nonetheless, life goes on, right? And we do the best we can do with what we got. So what we're going to do now is talk about, did you stay present? Are you present? Are you engaged in the moment? Remember we talked about that? It's important because the moment is the only thing you have. Yes, you have a past, but it's not active. It's like a scrapbook with pictures. It's not active. Your future, whatever that means, is not active. It's only in your mind, something you want to get accomplished. And that's got to be done in the now, because the now determines what happens in the future. So be vigilant. Be in the now. Okay, getting on with the show. Enough with my ramblings. We are going to look at a book written by Dr. Jake in 2010 while he recuperated from his last bout with surgery issues. And I'm going to skim to any page that I get to without looking and decide which passage I'm going to read from. So with that in mind, here we go. Stop right there. I'm going to look at the right page, bottom passage. It says, We are attracted to people who are like ourselves or those we tend to like. Birds of a feather flock together. It's familiar, predictable, and requires little effort. To grow, you must go beyond you and those similar to you. Desires not yet fulfilled may require cooperation with those not yet known. Be open, and they will appear. I'm going to put the book up to the camera and attempt to hold it steady in case you want to refer to that. And I see the letters look a little bit funky, but you know where I'm coming from. Okay. You've got to be open to people who are a little bit different than you, because if you're just with people like you don't grow. Yesterday, a couple moved into the apartment next door to me, and the woman was dressed in traditional garb that they wear in India. And I visited India about 12, 13 years ago. And when the man said hello to me, I immediately knew the accent. I said, "Are you from India?" And he says, "Yes." I said, "I've been there." He goes, "You've been to India?" And all of a sudden he's talking to me about different things, blah, blah, blah. "Oh, Bangalore's a beautiful city," this, that, and the other. And I said, "Now I love samosa." I said, because I ate it frequently when I was there. And I said, and the Indian people, they treated me really nice. I have no complaints. And he said to me, "If I make some Indian food, can I knock on your door and give you a plate?" I said, "Absolutely," because I don't cook. So I said, "I would very much appreciate that." And he said, "Okay, I'm going to, when I do that, I'm going to knock on your door and give you some spicy Indian food." I said, "No problem. I'm half Italian. We love spicy stuff, so it's all good." So I wouldn't know anything about samosa if I was only dealing with people that were similar to me. I found out about that in India. And now my next door neighbor is probably going to make me some killer samosa. So that's pretty cool, ain't it? So, getting back to today's message, we have to be open to being around people that are different than us. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to like what we learn from them, but we might figure there's something that we need to stay away from, or things we might want to bring closer. It's up to you. You make the call. It's not a matter of being judgmental of anybody. It's a matter of what doesn't fit in your life. So it's your life. You get to call the shots. And when that time is over, you go to the great beyond, and you're going to meet Elvis. I know that sounds corny, but I can't help myself. It's just the way I am. So, with that in mind, I want to tell you, now this in sign language means I love you. And a friend of mine, who's a doctor, a chiropractic doctor by trade, uses this in part of his metaphysical healing. So I use it when I speak to what I call the source of all that is. So may the source be with you, and may you have a fabulous day. Be kind to somebody. Be kind to everybody. What am I talking about? And I'll see you on the flip side. Dr. Jake, out.